It's our last day on Queen Mary 2, so we're going to talk about what happened yesterday, which was day 4. We didn't have a bad night. The door did keep blowing again at times though, so we had to go back to the purser's desk and ask them to get the carpenter back up. Looking at the door, you can see that the ship's feeling its age. Bits of the rubber around the seal have perished or broken off and are missing. So we reported that to the purser's office and went for breakfast. Unfortunately, once again, my breakfast was cold. Yesterday we selected to go on a shared table with some other people. So we had a couple of nice couples and a couple of solo travellers on the same table as us. 2 of us ordered bagels, and I think they had to wait for them to be cooked or something, or maybe go and mill the grain, because they turned up after everyone else's mains had arrived. I had eggs Benedict, which were barely lukewarm when they arrived again, and unfortunately that seems to have been a theme throughout this cruise. Cunard get the little touches right and forget the big things, like hot food is supposed to be served hot. It carries over into their drinks as well. We've had several coffees which were best described as warm rather than hot. So after breakfast, which took quite some time because the bagels for the pair of us that ordered them took well over an hour, nearly an hour and a quarter before they arrived. We came back to the room. I had to cover some on-call, so I was actually trying to work from the ship, which was interesting on the ship's Wi-Fi. It seems very hit or miss. Sometimes you can stay connected to it for hours or even a couple of days on end, and then other days it will just keep logging you out every 5 minutes and you have to log back in, which made it interesting to access remote systems. But halfway through my on-call shift, one of my colleagues quite kindly offered to cover my on-call for me when he realised I was actually away. But as this was such a short notice trip, I think we had 2 days notice between booking and boarding. It was ridiculous. So I said I'll cover my Friday on-call anyway, just so I could be on board. Whilst I was doing that, working from the room, the ship's carpenter came up and had a look at the door again. This time he put some of the self-adhesive foam all around it to replace the broken seals. And I'm glad to say that's worked. The door's been a lot better ever since. We haven't got loud farting noises coming from it. And we haven't got a cold draft blowing into the room from both sides of the room, one from the aircon, one from the door now. So whilst it took a little while to get it sorted, it has been sorted, so thanks for doing that. Props to the ship's carpenter for getting it done second time round. Main dining room for lunch, Tracy had haddock on rice and I had the sweet and sour pork. Unfortunately, once again, cold food. The rice was actually, if you know food safety regs, you'll know that there's a very particular range you have to keep rice at before serving. The rice was actually in an unsafe temperature range when it was served. How long it had been sat on the side below the safe temperature, I don't know. Come on, Cunard, if you don't want outbreak of Bacillus cereus, then you need that sorted. We popped along to Illuminations then, which is where the planetarium is and where they have some of the insight talks. And there was an insight talk up next, which I think was the history of plastic surgery, which didn't really interest us, so we thought we'll go on up to the Commodore Club for a drink. Came back to the cabin and got ready for dinner. It wasn't a formal night or anything, but the dress code does apply from 6 throughout a lot of the ship. You can always go to the buffet, not the pop-up alternative dining in the buffet, where the dress code applies, but you can go to the main buffet, you can go to the pub, but good luck with that. There hasn't been a seat in the pub the entire trip, and it's the same today, where the pub's been chosen as one of the venues to show the coronation. Literally packed constantly throughout the entire trip. At no point could we get a seat in there. It was packed this morning when we went for breakfast, and the bar wasn't even open. It was still packed then. And you can also go, I think, to the nightclub without the dress code applying. Casino, but that's been closed all trip. So you have to be kind of smart. So we came back, got ready for dinner, literally bumped into Tim and Andy from travelling with Tim and Andy as we walked out of the room to go to dinner. Hi Tim and Andy, nice to have met you. And that was it, off to dinner. Tracy had butter chicken in the main dining room, and her dinner was actually hot. She ended up having to blow on the chicken to cool it down. I had the beef, which was absolutely lovely, very tender, but unfortunately, once again, practically cold. What is it with Cunard and cold food? I don't get it. It's not a problem we've had with any other cruise line. Literally the only place we've been where food is reliably hot is the buffet. But yeah, the food that we had was nice. The service was quite snappy. And that's always been a theme as well. In the evenings, the service seems to be a bit more on point than earlier in the day. I assume that's because they know they have to get everyone in and out from first sitting, so that there's room for the people to come in for second sitting. Decided what to do, and there was a show in the theatre called The Rhythm of the Night. It was going to feature things like Foxtrot, Mamba and that. So we weren't sure. We're not big ballroom dance fans, but we thought we'll give it a try. We got a nice cosy booth at the back of the theatre, so that if we weren't enjoying it, we could just sneak out without disturbing anyone. But it was absolutely amazing. They had 10 dancers and 4 vocalists/dancers on the stage at different points in it. So sometimes you'll have 14 people performing on the stage, and it was everything from, like, You Can Call Me Al by Paul Simon, Living La Vida Loca, Ricky Martin, Black Magic Woman. So it wasn't what we expected, and it was we liked it a lot more than we thought we were going to. So another excellent entertainment here on board Queen Mary 2. We didn't quite fancy going to bed then, so we popped up to Corinthia Lounge for the late night trivia. Did 20 questions, had to swap sheets with someone else, and I'm marking their sheet for them, and it's like, flipping heck, they're going to get all of them. So they had all the first 10. Cake by the Ocean was the team name. They got 18 out of 20. I thought they were going to do the clean sweep, so well done to Cake by the Ocean. And then back to bed. And whilst the door is now fixed, neither of us had a great night's sleep last night. But anyway, it's our last day. We've been out for a wander already, but catch us for the next vlog and you'll find out what we did on the last day. Thanks for watching.
Remember to hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
We will see you next time.